Host Emily Zubi, and I've talked about American Heart Association before because I absolutely love this organization. And today we have a very special guest. We have the Miami Leaders of Impact winner, and I didn't know up until like yesterday or the day before, but I'm very proud to pronounce Jennifer Perez. She's a partner at Stutz & Bowen, and she is the winner, the Miami Leaders of Impact winner. So we're going to talk about everything from what she does with healthcare, her specialty, her background, and about the campaign and how you can get involved. So first off, I want to wish you congratulations.
Thank you, Emily.
That is so amazing. I know that when I did the Go Red and the Women of Impact, it was just super exciting. And I met, for without a doubt, a great organization and an important cause. So tell us a little bit of how you got involved.
So thank you, Emily. The Leaders of Impact campaign, I got involved. I was asked to be on the Miami Advisory Board for the American Heart Association. I am also a healthcare corporate practice attorney. I've been a healthcare attorney for 20 years. So for me, it was a natural fit to immediately be involved with the AHA. The Leaders of Impact campaign, their goals of promoting education, prevention, and equity in the realm of heart and brain health completely aligns with my own personal values and goals. So I thought, what a great campaign to jump into and start fundraising. The campaign itself, it runs 7 weeks starting in September and just ended in November. And, it has a way of bringing together local nominees to spread awareness about all of these issues facing heart health, fundraising initiatives to go out there and inspire communities to be healthier and to understand what really is going on out there with heart disease. I mean, heart disease is really the number one killer of Americans, and stroke is number 5. So it is, it isn't just a personal issue. It really is a community one.
It's amazing. The Leaders campaign. So what spoke to you the most?
What spoke to me the most is immediately I noticed that people come together so quickly when passion and purpose, coexist. And that's what I can tell you about the AHA and how passionate they are about this specific campaign. I mean, local leaders in the community are called to action, and we really all just came together for this. And to me, the most important thing about being a leader, I mean, if you think about what being a leader is, leadership has many meanings, but to me, leadership is the most impactful through service. And AHA really promotes this through this Leaders of Impact campaign, and that's what spoke to me the most.
Leadership is huge. We just did our coffee table book of Rockstar Leaders, and we sold out at Books and Books. So we're very excited. But we talk a lot about leadership on the show. And what do you think would be the 3 characteristics, or that you would say you would describe yourself as a leader?
3 characteristics. Well, service-oriented is number 1. You have to be able to humble yourself to actually understand what's going on. There's so much things going on in our daily lives personally, but you need to humble yourself to see what's going on in the community. And service is the best way to do it. If you're not out there understanding, then you can't know. The other thing is knowledge. As a healthcare attorney, I've been working with physicians, group practices, multi-specialty groups, all types of specialties. And I understand the importance of what doctors need to do out there, which is care for their patients. And my role has always been to help them do that in a better way. And, the last one would be passion. It can't just be mechanical, your output. It has to be, you have to have passion in everything you do. Learning about, as I started getting involved in this campaign, I started learning even more statistics. 1 in 3 deaths in America are caused by cardiovascular disease. I wasn't aware of all these statistics. I knew a lot about it, and a lot of it affects women more so than I had understood. So the passion around it is important, and learning about things creates that passion.
I love that you have that healthcare specialty, and we always say at Miami Women Rock, you rock your health, rock the world, and that really, I mean, we center one of our pillars of as an organization is about healthcare. I'm curious in terms of the law, some of the things like what's your secret sauce, and 20 years is a long time to be in that space, and it has changed a great deal.
It has.
So, what do you think are some of the key things that have helped you, like just, I don't know, stay passionate about being in that side of the profession?
So constantly, I try to always surround myself by, more and more different groups of physicians, different healthcare systems. Now as a partner at Schutz and Bowen, I have the fortunate ability to represent many different doctors in that space, many different health systems. So I get to see different sides of it from that perspective. Different specialties in and of themselves, representing an OBGYN versus a cardiologist versus a dermatologist comes, you learn from each representation of them because they each have their own specific needs, each have their own specific challenges that you must meet. The key is, to me, is as a doctor who, as a lawyer who represents doctors, your key is to help them get through the business part so they can just do the part of seeing the patient, of caring for the patient, of healing the patient. And so that has just been my goal always in all different aspects. I have been a lawyer in many different aspects. I even represented insurance companies at one point and representing physicians. So I've been on both sides of a lot of these big decisions and big issues that plague the healthcare system. So I've had the benefit of that and learned from that every step of the way. I'm
wowed. I'm impressed. I mean, I love to see strong, dynamic, brilliant women, and you are all those things. So that's really impressive. Let's talk about the campaign because. First off, this is a national campaign and a local campaign. So, what was like the key strategy that you used in terms of rallying your troops, or just for your campaign? Because it's no small deal. I mean, I know, when I was in the campaign and the Go Red and Women of Impact. I mean, it was beautiful. It was emotional, but at the end of the day, it was like certain weeks, and they went by really quickly.
Right.
When you're fundraising.
Right.
So what were the secrets to your success with it? What were your strategies? Tell me how you did what you did.
Well, I have to say, I have to give a big kudos to my law firm, Schutz and Bowen, who were extremely supportive from day one. They've been a huge supporter of the American Heart Association for many, many years. And I was very humbled and grateful that they immediately, when I said, this is something I'm really passionate about, they backed me up 100%. They were big, they were big on helping me fundraise. So I have to thank them and the individual attorneys, my partners at Schutz and Bowen. When I reached out and said, this is something I'm passionate about, I got so much great feedback. They were ready and willing to help right away. I even connected with so many of them. Schutz and Bowen has 8 offices in Florida. And I've visited so many and met so many partners, but sometimes, you're in different places, so you don't necessarily talk to everyone. I was so surprised at how much this organization touched so many of my partners in different offices. I got calls, I got emails and texts about, I'm involved in West Palm Beach on this effort in the AHA. I'm involved in Orlando. How can I help you? And all. So it also brought us as partners a little bit closer in that community sense. So I have to thank them for that. Otherwise, my family and friends, I have a great network of family and friends that immediately stepped up and said, this is amazing and we're willing to help.
I love that, and what you say that gets people to give. What for example was like that typical 2-minute pitch, or what was it that you would say in order for them to truly motivate people to open up their wallets, because it's fundraising is not easy, and I love this organization, but at the end of the day there are so many charities and organizations. So what was it that you said, or how did you say it, that really kind of got people to say, okay, I'm gonna pony up?
So specifically, and I know that this was something that I was very passionate about raising funds for, there are so many there's so many community programs, including schools and other programs, that just don't have the means to have policies or programs in place to educate communities about nutrition, about blood pressure. There's under-resourced areas that don't have the means to just understand how important that is. And so I was very passionate about getting that message out there to those that were helping me. Specifically, one of the things that I found as I continued to research about this is that hands-only CPR, hands-only CPR is something that is so beneficial, so easy to learn, first of all, because it's something that you can learn in minutes. But a person that doesn't receive CPR, every minute, they reduce their chance of living by 10%. So if you can just educate a community on this hands-only CPR, get the teachers out there to get them to do it at schools, get training done at schools, get training done in communities. This could save lives. And I thought, if I could even save one person's family member by promoting this out there, I've done a great job. Another thing is AEDs, which are automated external defibrillators. They're the equipment that are used in time of an emergency of a cardiac arrest. I mean, I know that there's places that just don't have the means or the knowledge of where these AED equipment should be placed so that they can have easy access to it. I also was passionate about raising those funds to be able to ensure that places that need it, should get them and should have them, and people need to be aware where they are.
Well, it sounds like you learned a tremendous amount, and I'm learning because there's some things that I didn't even realize. What were some of the biggest eye openers, like in this campaign? I'm sure that there, it sounds like there were a lot of things that you got engaged in different ways you can help, and you absorbed. I remember thinking to myself, okay, there are so many facts and figures to share with everyone. I mean, during a campaign, there's so many ways that you could share, but I mean, certainly the CPR and all these things that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. But what were the big eye openers, things that you didn't know that were surprising to you?
Well, one of the things that I learned along the way is how I think a lot of the time, and maybe it's just my own thought, or maybe heart health, I haven't really focused on how it affects women, but I've been learning more and more that women are actually more affected in different types of heart disease, different types of heart issues that we know about or that we talk about. And as a woman, of course, and in the profession and in the healthcare space, I said, this needs to be out there more. It's not just, women, we worry about health for many reasons, but it should be focused on heart health. There should be a big focus for women on focusing on heart health. And that was something very surprising that I learned along the way. Definitely. That's
incredible. We have a CEO circle, and we do a lunchtime lab every third Wednesday. And this Wednesday coming up, we have Dr. Manny Diaz, who is a concierge doctor and also a book author and a cardiologist. And one of the biggest things is that really it's a silent killer. And there's so many things that women don't realize, but we're always changing our hats, right? So sometimes we don't discover that there's an issue until there's an issue, unfortunately. Correct. So what are some of the things that you do personally just to kind of keep your, heart health? What's your routine? What are the things? Are you a yoga person? Are you what do you do?
So I would call myself a runner. I've always loved to run. I've always loved to run outside, but Miami's challenging. These days it's a little better, but I've always loved to run. If I can't run, I love walking. Just getting outside, I feel open. Not only good for physically, but it's good for the mind. It's good for any type of stress. I love, I'm a big proponent of eating healthy, eating right, understanding your body and what works for you in terms of health, in terms of nutrition. Both my children I've learned from them, my son plays sports at school, my daughter dances, and they're just very dedicated athletes when it comes to their fitness. So I've learned that, you can do anything as long as you get yourself into a schedule, really. So sometimes it's like, oh, I don't have time for this. I don't have time. There's always some time. I mean, I look at sometimes my kids and I'm like, they're always, sort of busy with either their sports or their dance and school and. So as long as we understand that if we just make it a routine, I try to really just make it a routine, doing something athletic for myself as well as eating healthy.
That's wonderful. I have a son, a 29-year-old son.
Oh, wow.
But definitely raising him. I mean, I can't say that I grew up with that consciousness of nutrition. I just my family we didn't, and I remember that I had certain friends that they were much more conscious. They were younger than I am. I had my son late in life, and they had a nickname for me. It was called Sugar Mama because the kids used to come in and pack up snacks in their pockets because I had the snacks that they didn't get at home.
The good snacks.
But they weren't. No,
but they were not.
Well, no, we wouldn't. We would, they were high in all those things. I mean, certainly there's a lot more. I think parenting these days, a lot more consciousness and, looking at the labels and all that. Not that it didn't exist when he was younger, but definitely it wasn't what it is today. So, being able, to have that awareness and also that balance, right? To be able to say that. But, living healthy is a lifestyle. And it sounds like your home, it gets practiced, all the way through. And it starts with an example of being that way.
We do. We definitely look at the ingredient. One of the things you're talking about is looking at the ingredients, trying to make sure that things are as natural as possible, because the more additives that you add, I mean, you're not really sure all that's being added. So the more natural, we try to be as healthy as possible by looking at those ingredients for sure.
When I was involved with the campaign, I loved how much support I got. And I have to say that in terms of a campaign that runs 7 weeks, to be able to, Catherine's in the studio with us, and I want to give a shout out because anything I needed was responded to immediately.
Yes.
Oh, I need an email. Okay, here's a template. Oh, I need this. And I never felt alone at it. I mean, because it was really great. And even, like if I had to do it all over again, there's certain things that I would have done in terms of getting even local partners, be it restaurants, food, there's so many ways to raise money. I'm curious in terms of moving forward with the organization, what are some of the ideas that you've had or things that, you will continue to do?
Sure. And I want to thank Catherine as well. She was so supportive, so supportive, constantly sending me ideas, meeting with me weekly, sending those type of templates, picking up, text calls. I mean, she was very...
Till late at night.
Yes, on top of it, very extremely helpful. I mean, she obviously knows, she knows how to get this done. She has all of the tools, and she was wonderful. Moving forward, I definitely, as a board member now with AHA, I plan to be completely involved with the AHA, in any way that they will have me, actually, because it's such a wonderful cause. All the different causes and all the pillars that the AHA stands for really resonates with me. What I can say is that I really want to suggest that people, get involved with the Leaders of Impact campaign, and even, try to motivate others to nominate someone within their community, within their firms, within their companies to actually run for this. It's such a rewarding process.
And that's so true. Well, we're starting Palm Beach Women Who Rock, so we may have some people up north that we could tap in. We had so many women within our group, and one of the women that actually had introduced me to the organization was Anna Viega Milton.
Okay.
And she's, an icon in our community and a big proponent. But, it was a fun event. It was a great day and a great campaign, but it's always a matter of growing that community and being able to get more people to get involved. What are when you think of being a board member? I'm curious as to what would be your vision in terms of contributions. Board members, and I know I've partnered with over 75 organizations, and I'm only a board member on one. And I take it very seriously because I rather, under promise and over deliver. But I'm curious in terms of, how you see your role and your vision and, and what does that mean? Because it sounds like you're a busy woman between being, a partner at a law firm and mom, family, all that, and so, tell me what you think that means.
So another part of my career, as part of my practice, I've always represented I was in-house counsel for an organization. I've always been part of boards in terms of advising boards. And one of the things that I love about joining an actual board and being a board member is that I would get to basically be part of the strategic vision for the growth of the company. I'm very excited about, discussing strategy with other community leaders. It's amazing to me to get people, like-minded community leaders in a space where we can discuss this and come up with a strategy, sort of create it, and then push it out forward. I've always enjoyed, as representing boards, I've always enjoyed watching that happen, from the legal perspective, watching it happen. And now I get to actually be a functional part of it as a board member. I really plan on jumping right in and joining forces with all these community leaders.
That's great. Mm-hmm. How do you get the corporate involvement? For example, what do you do in terms of networking? And, obviously, I mean, I know one of the things that I looked at was the corporate match and companies that can match the donations, right, and so forth. So what's your plan there, or what's your strategy there in terms of, getting more companies involved, like your law firm?
So definitely I have a network of, attorneys, not just my law firm. I've been, on, like I said, I've been in other positions, and I've also served on other boards of directors. I've been involved with the Cuban American Bar Association, where I served as a board member for 9 years. So different types of organizations where I feel like I have a tight-knit community that I'm sure that I could, reach out to collaborate on certain important issues. Definitely have a lot of, I'm involved in other organizations that are non-lawyer as well. And that I feel very confident that, they would want to join in on this. And I feel confident that it's something so important. And as long as they get the information and we reach out at the right time, that they will be involved.
Is there anything I haven't asked you about American Heart Association, the local chapter, that you would like to talk about? Is there anything that we haven't covered that you would like to say? And by the way...
Well, and by the way, if you want to get involved, the website is www.leadersofimpact.heart.org. I encourage you to go. I encourage you to research it for yourself. I also encourage you to, look into hands-only CPR training, research these AEDs at your community and your schools, and see if you can get involved. I mean, there's protocols that you could help build in your own communities that will be very beneficial and save lives.
Wonderful. Let's talk a little bit. I'm going to step back and talk about you personally. And,
okay.
Did you always know that you wanted to be an attorney? At what point did you decide? Yeah. Like what, I mean, you've been in practice for 20 years. So where did that journey start?
I always wanted to be an attorney. My parents will tell you that I always said I wanted to be a lawyer from very young. I don't know really how maybe I just thought, well, at one point I did think I would go into sort of newscast, be a newscaster, which I loved as well. I was very involved in journalism while I was in high school. I always loved to write. I always loved to advocate. But I did always love the law. I loved the idea of advocating for others. So it naturally law school was the way I was going to go.
Where'd you go?
I went to Emory University School of Law in Atlanta. Yes. So it was an amazing experience. Lived in Atlanta for 3 years. But then, when it came time to take, you have to choose a state for the bar exam. So came back to Miami and took the Florida bar.
Originally from Miami?
Yes. I'm born and raised in Miami. Mm-hmm.
And what would you tell your younger self?
Oh, good question.
If there's anything looking back at...
If I could tell anything to my younger self, would be patient. Take time to pause. Obviously it's a marathon. It's not a quick sprint. Be patient, and, things will happen. I would tell that to my younger self, because I've always sort of just been like, okay, let's go, let's move, let's accomplish. But things will happen in due time.
And how do you find time? Because relaxing, meditation, all those things. I mean, I have a very tough time meditating, but all those things that reduce stress. I'm very curious. What are the things that either you do or because I mean, I know a lot of women that they're so busy taking care of everybody else that, they put themselves last on the list. But, things about blood pressure and, just really monitoring your own health, how to stay calm, how to keep life, I always say count your blessings, not your stressings.
Yeah, that's good.
And, we're in the month of gratitude and so forth. That's so important. But I'm curious, like, because you're you're good on air. You could have your own show.
Oh.
What would you say are some of the ways that you do that in your life?
I do have to say that I definitely give myself time. Like I have friends and families, I didn't have time to go to the doctor. I didn't have time to go do my mammogram. I didn't have time to. I'm very vigilant about that. I go to my PCP every year. I go to my OBGYN, and I make sure that I make that time to block off time, and I'm going to go do that for myself, no matter what. I also, enjoy travel with my family. We definitely block off time. It's, I have my 2 kids and my husband, and we enjoy time. Travel, the 4 of us. We always say that when we travel, the 4 of us is when we obviously get the closest because we drown out all the other noise and we're just hanging out with one another, relaxing. I also make time with girlfriends. I've gone on girls' trips. I just try to balance out, the stressings, like you say, with other, great relaxing moments.
What's the most favorite place that you've traveled? What would be
most favorite place that I've traveled? What a great question. With my kids?
They could be with or without.
Well, we recently went to a trip to Italy. Well, it was a couple of years ago. A trip to Italy, which was wonderful. We were able to go to Florence, Rome, and Venice, and the kids loved it so much. They actually thought Venice is the coolest place. Look at this place underwater.
They loved it.
So it was very impactful for them to see. So I think that was right up there with one of my favorite trips that we've taken.
That's wonderful. Well, we have a couple minutes left wrapping up. So let's do one more. Let's do a call to action. Although your campaign has wrapped up, you're a board member. So if someone wants to make a donation,
yes,
take it away and tell everyone how they can connect and where they can make an impact.
Okay, well, the call to action would be get out there, work with your communities, find out what's going on in your community or in your schools with this type of awareness, CPR training, AED equipment. If you'd like to go onto the American Heart Association's website, there's also a specific website, I think I mentioned it before, for leadersofimpact.heart.org. If you go right in there, you can find out ways that you can help, ways that you can lead, nominate your own leader of impact in your community. Get out there, help the community, and that's it.
Have you already identified who will follow in your footsteps?
No, I haven't. As we're talking, I'm thinking maybe
Who's going to be your?
Maybe I have to
Catherine
nominate
hasn't
someone.
asked you yet. Well,
no, she hasn't.
Okay, well,
she hasn't. But I think that's going to be the next question. Right, that'll be our next question.
Yeah, think of who who will be perfect and start grooming them. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you for making a difference and being a woman of impact and a leader of impact. Because, I've loved getting to know you and, I could tell that everything that you stand for and, that you're passionate about the cause and thank goodness for women like you. Thank you for joining us on Spotlight TV and a big shout out to our producer, Emily, and to Michael, Grant, everyone here at Community Newspapers. We just absolutely love this partnership and it has been wonderful coming week to week and spotlighting some of the biggest leaders, CEOs, and different charity organizations with you. And we will see you next week on Spotlight TV.